All right. So, hello and welcome to another edition of Mo on Lab Coat Nation. I'm your marketing trainer and host, and today I have a special treat. I have Mr. Ryan Stewman here, and he is going to be laying out his to real estate success in 2016. And I'll get straight to the point. The reason why I wanted to get Ryan on here is because we kicked his ass out, and I wanted to really get an opportunity to talk to him because I've read some of his stuff, and at the end of the day, I like his message. And you have to respect someone with enough guts and hustle and grind to go from prison to success as a small business owner. And so there's definitely some things that we can learn from him and apply to our real estate business. I wanted to give him that opportunity here today. But first, Ryan, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm awesome, Mo. Hey, thanks for having me on here, dude.
No problem, man. I appreciate you for coming on. So, let's get straight to it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
So I live in Dallas, Texas. I was born right there. I know you can't see, but like I can. Literally, I was born in the hospital that I can see out the window of my apartment here in the building that I live in. So I don't fall too far from the tree. I mean, I've traveled. I've left the city. I've traveled a lot, but I'm from right here in Dallas, Texas. I live downtown. And you're right. I've come up from the bottom. I used to live on the other side of Greenville Avenue, or if you're from Dallas, you know that's like a rough part of town, right? That's where I was. I grew up and stuff like that, and did things, and I have literally worked my way up to that. Consider the top. I live in a penthouse. I own several different companies, and I have around 30 streams of income. It didn't happen overnight, but through just not giving up. And I'll share some of the wisdom about that stuff with you guys today. So
cool. And another personality or sales professional that I know a lot of lab coats love, Grant Cardone. And I've seen you in some of your YouTube videos, and you're hanging out with guys like that, man. There's definitely an opportunity for you to teach us something. So I'm glad you're able to come on here today and to do so. So, man, tell us kind of about the rough aspect, and then rolling into the glory. I know you spent some time in prison, and tell us about that a little bit, man. I mean, you don't hide it, so tell us.
Yeah, well, one thing I can say is it did me some favors, and it did me some fouls, right? It like hurt me in a place or two. I don't really trust too many people, right? And when I meet somebody, my natural instinct is to try to figure out every which way they're trying to screw me before I let them into my circle, right? Which,
I got you.
A lot of people say I'm an asshole for that or whatever, and it's just, and I am, right? It's just a natural tendency though, because I'm used to protecting. And I spent 4 years of my life, and it's a long time. You develop a habit after 21 days, so imagine what you develop in 4 years, right? That's time you could get a degree in college in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was of college age, so I did it in 2 different stints, right? So when I was 19, I got in trouble. And for possession of drugs, cocaine, right? I tried it one time, and I OD'd, and I died, right? So like I've been dead too, right? How you say it? Yeah. And they brought me back to life with the shockers so that they could arrest me and take me to prison. Right? So who does that? Right?
Wow.
Yeah. They're like, bring them back to life, take them to prison, and tell them he owes taxes. Right? and so I did my thing on that, did 2 years, did my time on that. And then what happened was 5 years later, I had built a nice real estate business, right? I was making about $1 million a year flipping houses. I wasn't a real estate agent. And I was a loan officer, but I had put that on the back burner to flip houses, doing really well at it. And the police thought that I was selling drugs again, so they kicked in my door and didn't find any drugs because I wasn't doing drugs. I'd only did it that one time. I was dealing them before, but I wasn't doing any of that this time. It was all legit. And I had to go back to federal prison 2 more years because they found a gun, and they tried me with the gun, and I beat the case, right? Because in Texas, you can own a gun. But thanks to like President Bush and his task force on guns of people that were minding their own business in houses or whatever that committee was called, right? They had some kind of federal ATF deal, and the ATF literally, I started work, got my dream job. Like this is just like my life story, right? Yeah. I got my dream job for like the best development company, the biggest bank that you can imagine working for in Dallas, Texas, right? Like golden people get to work for this place, right? It's like your dream job. My first day on the job, I get this phone call. I'm like, hello, And they're like, yeah, this is the ATF. We need you to come down to such and the Bank of America building is what they said. And we're on the 5th floor. And I thought it was one of my buddies from another brokerage harassing me, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, if I leave work and I get there, I'm going to kick your ass when I get there and find out that this is some kind of prank. And when I got there, they arrested me, man. It was like, I'm like, what are you even mad for? And it was for some stuff 3 years happened before involving a gun, man. It was this whole weird thing. So then I had to, they tried to give me 20 years. But my lawyer, the guy I hired, is like this dude, Craig Watkins, man. And in the middle of our going through and negotiating with the ATF on how much time they're going to take away from my life, he got elected as the district attorney in Dallas County. Now, first of all, he's the first Democrat ever elected in Dallas County to a position in the judicial system, whether it be a judge, whether it be a DA or anything like that, mayor, none of that. And he was black, so he was the first dude to ever be a black dude and a Democrat. So he was like this big, huge celebrity, man. And me and him, I had refinanced his house to pay some of my lawyer bills. Like we were homies and shit, right? And he became a celebrity and this important figure in the middle of my trial. So, or in the middle of my going through the negotiating with the feds. So he traded some people and did a favor for me, man, and got me down from 20 years for that gun to 2 years, which coincidentally wouldn't serve me that well on the inside, because then everybody thought I snitched, right? Because they're like, you know, how do you not get 20 years? How you got 2 and this dude over here's got a life sentence for the same stuff? And I'm like, dude, I'm the luckiest unlucky bastard you will ever meet in your life, right? And so it's just like that's my story. So I gained some good points from there too. I became disciplined. I learned how to go through and create routines. I learned how to control my mind. I learned how to work out and control my body. I learned how to, you know, focus on the positive in a place where you're surrounded by extreme negative and extreme, you know, horrible things going on. I learned how to focus on the positive and tune my mind out to all that as well. And so there were some lessons learned there that served me well, but most of them are terrible habits. You know what I mean? Like people think. So.
But, you know, I mean, when you say the mind, though, I mean, at the end of the day, man, that's it, you know, and training your mind and staying sharp that's what will enable you to grasp success, because you'll always be looking for that next tool. No matter if it's Google Hangouts, Ustream, you know, I heard you shutting down your podcast, you know, you're always looking for that next tool. So, you know, I always say this, I always say this, everything in life happens for a reason. So, you know, hey. So let's talk about coming out, selling cars, and then, you know, the start of who we know you to be now.
Yeah, so let's flash forward to 2008. I got released from federal prison and, you know, bounced around for about a month trying to find a job. You know, I was the mortgage industry, I hear in prison for the last year was falling apart. So I was like, I don't want to go back to that, you know.
And could you have, though? I mean, with the record?
Well, I did. So I went back to work, and it turns out, like, between me and you and the million or so people watch your podcast, right? Like federal criminals, like, and this is for political reasons, like federal criminals don't show up on a background check. Like if you run my background right now, don't say nothing about me doing 2 years in federal prison. And I can go get a job in the White House. I can still run for Congress and all this stuff. Right? I can't do it on a state level, oddly enough, but I can federally. It's weird. It's all considered civil because it's all about money or indebtment. It's a whole different thing than the guy that shot somebody. Yeah. And so anyway, I get out and I'm on parole for 3 years. So I got to find a job, right? And it's got to be a legit corporate job because they're watching everything that I do. So I went and got a job at the biggest mortgage bank in Texas that was privately owned, right? And they're still around today. They're on TV all the time. Well, you know, when I started work there, they took a chance on me. I told the general manager, it's like, look, dude, I'm a 2-time felon, but I promise you this, I don't have too many options. If you'll put me to work here, I will make you a bunch of money because this is the last resort for me. And I can't ever own a bank and I can't ever go anywhere else once I'm grandfathered in at this system. So you like basically got me as an employee that will produce for forever. And I showed them before I went into prison, I had W-2s and shit for hundreds of thousands of dollars, multiple within that year for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it was like, hey man, you just take a chance on me. I still got it. I didn't lose it.
Yeah.
And
you like MJ coming back, huh?
Yeah. Well, they let me come back, and within 60 days, I was top producer in the bank, like the whole bank, 180 loan officers, man. And within 60 days, nobody was anywhere near. Matter of fact, I caused the top dudes that had been there to have to step their game up and start doing more to keep up, right? And so And, you know, and we're talking within 60 days, closing 30 loans a month. Right. And I'm not talking about like, this wasn't a Bank of America type of place where you get your own business and do your own thing. And they had leads coming in too. But I mean, it's a standard mortgage operation. Right.
Right.
So it wasn't like I was sitting there taking orders for $12 now. I was out there hustling. And in 2009, I made like, you know, $300,000-$400,000. And then, you know, that was a lot for them. It was probably $1 million for them because they paid us a lot less, counting junk fees and stuff. And closed 183 loans the year that they said the mortgages were going out of style, right? They said, you know, everybody was shutting their doors and it was this mortgage meltdown. But I had this mentality of like, man, if I don't get this done and I don't do everything I can to make this moment happen, right, then what am I going to do? So I saved a bunch of money. When I worked that year, I lived, even though I had made like 300,000, 400,000, I don't remember what it was in 2009, but even though I had made several $100,000, I lived in a $110,000 house, right? Like I drove a $400 a month car payment car and shit, you know, and didn't spend any. Yeah, man. And I saved a bunch of money, right? And so good thing though, right? And that's, again, I'm here for a reason, right? Because 2010, there was this law that got passed called Dodd-Frank, and Dodd-Frank like took my license from me. Like they just say, hey man, it's been cool. You number like 10, the top 10 loan officers in the United States of America. You never had a complaint ever. People love you, but you got to go. Right. So yeah, deuces, man. It's been nice. Thanks for making us a meal last year. And the CEO of the company, I don't blame him, man, but he was like, dude, I can't really stick my neck out for you. I have, you know, 180 other people. I'm sorry, man. You know, and I get it. Business is business, you know. And I don't blame him because I had negotiated raises for everybody. I've always been a good leader, right? So there was things
got to get the job.
Yeah, and so came into internet marketing, and internet marketing. I started doing what I do now in 2010, in April of 2010, and 2011. My ex-wife, or wife at the time, became pregnant, right? We had a kid, my son Jax. And so I had a detour from the internet marketing thing, which I was going through my savings left and right anyway, and go get a job selling cars, like you mentioned. And while I was selling cars, I started podcasting in 2011 from the front seat of the car at lunch on a Wednesday at the dealership, right? And I was pretty honest about that. I never faked it till I made it type of like, we're in the, like, it was pretty like, we're in the mobile studio. That's what we called it as a joke, right? Yeah. And so, you know, I just stayed the course, and eventually when my son was born, the reason why I sold cars wasn't because the internet marketing thing wasn't working, but in case something happened, I wanted corporate insurance to be able to take care of my son, you know? And as soon as he was born, I was gone. And 2012, he was born in September of 11. In November, I left before Thanksgiving. In 2012, I started Hardcore Closer. So I registered the trademark, registered the LLC, started this website, and just grinded away, man, making videos, not knowing what the hell I was talking about. I would write blog posts that were completely unreadable, right? And I just stayed at it. And I would be like, man, I made it. How come nobody's reading it? It's like, because it sucks. But nobody wants to tell you it sucks because everybody wants to be your friend and be like, dude, way to go for taking action, right? Which is cool too, but you really do need somebody to be like, way to take action, but look, this sucks. Let me show you what's really going on here, right?
Absolutely.
And so I had that issue. And then eventually, I hired a mentor, Frank Kern, then Kevin Nations, and then I've worked with I'm friends with either your favorite real estate trainer, your real estate celebrities have even hired me. I'm friends, like you said, Grant Cardone. I know them all at this point because I've paid them or done something with them, because I think the fastest way to learn stuff is to find somebody who's already made the mistakes or somebody who has the experience and just ask them the right questions and do what they tell you. And at this point, you know, I've been doing this for 5 years. My blog so far this month has 170 or 80,000 people that have come to it just this month on 18th so far. And, you know, we typically have 6-figure months in sales, like consistently. And when I say that, I don't mean, when I say 6 figures, I'm talking about like net income. Like we're, you know, with the money that we take in from the sales products that we have. So I built this empire with just myself. I just recently hired people. I've been doing this whole time. I've been doing this by myself and my assistant, one person. And now I have 6 salespeople on my team because we've been getting 100 to 200 leads every single day. And it's more than obviously my assistant and I could keep up with. So.
Wow. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Here it is.
Man. So, you know, I mean, I picked out a lot of things that you said, but I know you got 3 keys that you're going to lay out on us. But, you know, the biggest thing that I heard in your entire story was this simple guts and hustle. And I think that a lot of folks do not understand how important that is, because it's like, okay, this didn't work out. I get kicked out of the mortgage game, and I'm starting this internet thing, and you had to take a detour to do what you had to do, but then you came right back at it hard. Man, it just takes guts, and a lot of people don't understand it. It's simple, but it's not, but it is.
Here's the thing, like, this is philosophical. So it has nothing to do with business, but there's this thing called the slap, right? And I talk about it a lot with my personal clients. Like, there's this thing called the slap, and it's like Newton's law. For everything that goes up, it must come down, right? And Absolutely. It's a test to see where you keep this balance at. And the slap is like, you're getting too big, slaps you back down. You know what I mean? Like, your ego's getting deflated, slap you back into place, right? Like, they even call it like the Google slap. When your SEO gets too high and Google don't like you, they slap you back into place, right? Well, life slapped me several times, man. Like, I was making $1 million a year, and the feds raid my house, think I'm selling drugs, which was nowhere near what was going on, right? Mm-hmm. And it slapped me, right? I went through a divorce. I lost a lot of money. I lost a business. I lost 2 years of my life I can't ever get back. You know what I mean? I gained more bad habits from being on the inside, you know what I mean? And defending myself and all that. Like, not defending like I had to fight all the time, too old for that shit, but like, defending in the sense of like, being defensive. What's this person want? Why are they talking to me? We ain't friends. You know what I mean? They're in here for being a bad person, so, and so life slapped me. Every time I would get up, it would slap me back down, but it's taught me these lessons, right? But when you're going to charge at life, you got to be willing, like if you're going to charge at anything, you got to be willing to get slapped or hit by whatever it is that you're charging at, right? And so I've charged at life a lot, right? Like when I was young and homeless, I sold little drugs, right? And I charged at life, and it slapped me back by taking me to jail. When I was 25 and I started making $700 to $1 million a year flipping homes, right? I got a big ass ego. I was going to wind up dead. Some real estate agent was going to shoot me for being an asshole at one point or another anyway, right? So life slapped me back down and put me in check, right? Yeah. I remember in 2005 jumping on my coffee table and telling the person I was with, hey man, I'm gonna one day, this text message didn't even exist then, right? But I'm like, one day we're gonna be able to like communicate with our hands, and I'm gonna write this book, and I'm gonna do all these things. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's gonna be something like that. Then I remember flash forward 2010 when I got kicked out of the mortgage business. I remember telling somebody else, being in the garage and saying, this is what I'm going to be. Now we have text. I'm going to write these books. I'm going to do this thing. And I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to do it. Just trust me. Right. And neither one of those people are in my life anymore. Right. But now at this point, it's like the dream came true. Right. The things that I have been saying since 2000, it took me 10 years to become an overnight success. Yeah. Right. But the things that I've been saying since 2005 have been focused. I've been derailed a couple of times. You know what I mean? Straight U-turned a couple of times. Right. Yeah. But at the same time, I've still been charging at life the whole time. And, now I'm charging at life, but I'm wearing a helmet. I'm ready. I'm a little bit better prepared. Smart. Yeah. So.
I like that, man. So drop those 3 keys on us. What's number 1?
So for real estate agents, first thing, if you're gonna get serious about making money in 2016, we were talking about this before we actually went live and recorded here, but I have a partnership in 2 real estate companies. One of them, we are the all-time leader of the MLS in the history of the MLS, like in the area that we're in, and we only been there for 5 years, right? It's like, even if you combine all the outsiders, we still got to beat. Sold 800 homes this year, and we have 16 agents, if that puts it in perspective for you. My lead agent sold 650 homes in 2015. The next thing is I have one here in Texas, and we have branches in every major city in Texas. And we're recruiting about 2 agents a day right now for that. And honestly, it's still such a new venture. But we're closed last month. I think we closed 30,000 in GCI over there. We're just getting started as well. So I do this stuff is what I'm saying, right? Like I want you guys to know that the things that I talk and the shit that I say in these groups or whatever that may get me kicked out or people mad or whatever, it's not because I'm philosophical or like I think that it can be done. It's because I'm in the grind just like you. I may not show houses, but I'm putting the systems, managing the people, and generating the leads every single day for my companies, right? Now, with that being said, 3 things that you got to do to be successful, like the agents that I've worked with, whether it be Frederick Eklund or Josh Flagg or Josh Altman or whoever, I've worked with all of them. If you're going to be successful like them, thing number 1 is you got to learn the internet, right? So many people think they know what to do online, but they don't. And when I say you got to learn the internet, you have to learn the etiquette. You see, like, for example, people get on Facebook and they talk about themselves. Nobody cares about you, right? People care about themselves. So if you start talking about things that other people will talk about, you just start talking about other people or start talking about things that are engaging to other people. The best way to put something on Facebook is to think of it this way. If I was friends with my worst enemy and I saw them post something and it come through my news feed and I would still share it, that's what you should post on Facebook. Like some good stuff that gets shares, right? That engages people, because nobody cares where you check in at or what you do for lunch. None of us are celebrities. Even me, I have 40,000 Facebook fans. I'm still not a celebrity, right? Like the paparazzi ain't never popped out in front of my building and been like, we're going to sell this for 10 grand, right? It ain't happened, right? So we just have to stop pretending. And it's okay to post about yourself occasionally, right? But remember, social media is about them and not you. So that's the first thing is you got to learn to do things online. Second thing is, because here's the thing, before I go to the second thing, your competition is, right? As younger real estate agents come into this business, as older real estate agents that are reaching out to me saying, dude, I'm an old dog, teach me new tricks, man. I'm dying. I've been, doing this thing forever and I can't grow anymore. Like all these things come up. People are joining in the internet phenomena or whatever in online marketing on a regular basis, right? So if you don't adapt to it, then somebody else will in your marketplace eventually, like myself. That's how I've been able to, quote unquote, weasel my way into these awesome real estate companies, right? It's because my lead gen stuff works, right? And it's because I know how to do things online. Number two is, so first thing, you gotta learn how to do things online, right? The second thing is you have to be relentless in your pursuit for business. Just because someone says that they have an agent, just because someone says that they're not interested right now, you need to earn permission to follow up with people. You see, for forever, I just told you earlier, I get 100, 200 leads every day. So I'm not a follow-up person. Like, what do I need to follow up for? Fresh leads every day. But the money's in the follow-up because, it may take 8 no's to get a yes, right? And there may not even be no's. It might be 8 maybes or 8 I'll tell you next times. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily 8 no's that you're getting. But it's going to take some while for you to become familiar. It takes 7 to 10 touches with somebody to become familiar. So if you learn online, and you become relentless, then if you're connecting with them on Facebook, well, guess what? There's 1 or 2 of those touches a day when you post, right? Then you calling them on the phone. And when you talk to people, earn their permission to follow up with them, right? So if I say, hey, I'm going to send you this email with these houses and I'm going to follow up with you in a couple of weeks to make sure you're still getting my emails. Is that okay with you, right? Instead of like, hey, I'm going to send you this. And then you just randomly follow up and they're like, what do you want? Tell them why you'll be following up and when you're going to do it. Right. So be relentless in your pursuit. And the third thing is learn advertising. Paid advertising, the knocking doors and calling expired. It's like, let's keep it 100 each other here, right? I know some really good cold callers, some cold killers, man. I know some really good cold callers, right? I got some that work for me, but nobody likes doing that. My boy Derek Lipsky, he's got 500,000 views on YouTube of people watching him cold call and close people. He's a badass realtor out of Boston. Badass. He hates it just like anybody else, man. It's just part of the grind. But here's the thing. If you learn to advertise, you don't have to do the manual labor. An advertisement will cold call for you, right? Because that's what it's doing is it's pitching everybody that sees that advertisement, right? So you don't have to put in the time. You just put in the money, invest $5,000 in a mailer. That mailer is advertising for you. But here's the thing. When I say learn advertisement, I don't mean learn how to send a postcard with your picture on it, because nobody cares about you. People care about a house. You think for one, you might say, well, my clients love me. And that's true. They probably do love you. But if they could avoid paying you that 6% commission split, they would not be like, oh, well, I'm just going to randomly give $20,000 to Mo over here because I love him so much, right? You are a roadblock in the way of getting what they want. They want a house. Nobody rolls over in the middle of the night and goes, honey, we need a real estate agent. No, they go, honey, we need a house, right? So learn to advertise and sell what they want, right? Don't sell yourself, right? People, that's the number one thing that so many people make the mistake about. They're like, you need to brand yourself. You need to sell yourself. It's like, man, none of that'll even matter. If you're selling houses, who cares who you are as long as you're selling houses? That's an ego thing, right? I wish I had been, with the hardcore closer. That's not Ryan Stewman. My fan page and stuff like that is not, hardcore closer, AKA Ryan Stewman. I'm the face of the brand, but the idea behind it is it's the sales and the people that I talk about. It's not all about me, right? It's giving back to the community and things like when I run real estate ads, we've got one ad right now that we've spent $250 on, and we've got 3 listings like under contract, $300,000 and up, and 2 buyers under buyer rep agreements that are searching for $250,000 and up, right? Out of this $250 ad spend that we've run so far, right? That thing said nothing about Brian being the real estate agent. It said nothing about me being the ad man. It said nothing about Kim being the person that was going to go list the homes. It didn't mention any of that. It just said, if you want to live here, give us your information and we'll tell you some cool homes that are for sale there. Right. And we have that message
about the community or the house.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to live in the community, if you want to live in Highland Park, you know, we'll let you know when the houses come on the market, when they're coming soon and before they hit the regular market. Right. It's a little bit more elegant than that. That's the bottom line, right? Just a straightforward, but we target the right people. I target people that most likely own a home. So that way, if they're moving and we target $600,000 neighborhoods, so most likely they're stepping up so that we can sell that $300,000 house, represent them on the 6. And guess what? 5 years from now, we're representing them on the 6s, moving them up into the millions because we got a long-term game plan. We're not just trying to get our next closing next month, you know? Yep. So those 3 things, right? Thing number 1, learn online stuff really well. Thing number 2, be relentless. And thing number 3, learn advertising. So let me rephrase that. Don't learn online and don't learn advertising. Do online and advertise, right? Like do that stuff. Don't just learn it because knowledge is one thing, applied action's another, you know?
So do you guys do postcards?
I do mailers. Matter of fact, I have a box of cookies over there and I ate them and got kind of dizzy. The company's from Colorado. I probably should have asked them about that first, but I have a box of cookies over there that from my mail company that I use. Yeah, I do direct mailers. I spent about last month I spent 40 grand in advertising, just to put it in perspective. Okay. I walk the walk, talk the talk, right? I'm not a bullshitter, right? So last month I spent 43 grand to be exact in advertising. I spent 3 grand in direct mailers. I spent 15 grand in Facebook. I spent around 5 grand in YouTube, and then all the miscellaneous things that it takes to run that. I consider that advertising as well, like all your websites and all your SEO guys. My SEO guys cost me on top of the YouTube ads. It's a lot, right? And so the reason why I say that is like I'm everywhere. Any kind of advertising medium that you think of, you know, I'm in magazines. I got books on Amazon. I got anywhere they'll let me plant my stand, I'll put it there, man.
You got it. You got it. So here's what I always ask folks when getting ready to depart. You laid out 3 keys. Which is the master key? What's Ryan's master key to real estate success in 2016? Which one would you say, hey, this is the one that you got to get this right and everything else will come?
Yeah, advertising for sure.
Because advertising over online?
Yep, advertise everything, because it doesn't matter if you advertise online or off or on a park bench or the right billboard. If you learn to find the right audience and you have the right message, it doesn't matter how you do it. Some are cheaper and better than others, but it'll work.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, so tell us a little bit before you get out of here.
You know how to do the right message in the right audience. Remember that, right? Not a postcard of yourself or a billboard of yourself, but a billboard saying, move to this community, find out how to get here before anybody else, right? That's an exclusive, you know, offer about a community that people care about, because they see your face as a realtor and they go, shit, 6%. But they see the house, they go, oh, that's my dream, right? Right?
That's true. That's true. So on your postcards and the Facebook ads, you guys are doing move into this neighborhood. Like, you know, you're advertising the neighborhood that these folks are going to be moving up and into.
Yep. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so what are you talking? Are you mentioning highlights about the neighborhood, or are you, I mean, you're not putting, are you putting like stock photos of houses with a neighborhood name?
Yeah, it's like a stock photo of the house with the neighborhood name, and then a call to action. It's like, so we wouldn't mail to the neighborhood we're advertising, right? You already live there. What the hell do we want you, right? So what we do is we mail to neighborhoods that are likely to, and when I mention the numbers, I just mentioned this is for hardcore closer, but on the other side, on my real estate side, it's a whole nother set of advertising dollars, right? But so just so that we're clear on that, but when it comes to the postcards, we mail people that are likely to move into that area, right? Which are some indicators that you can get from SRDS lists and everything else. But what we offer them is, and this is what's key, and this is your job as a real estate agent. This is what's key, is knowing where the exclusive areas are. It doesn't matter if a neighborhood only has 5 homes. There's a waiting list to get in that neighborhood. That's awesome, right? Because what we can do is, as long as we get somebody's information, we can convert, right? So say that we get them and they want to move in this neighborhood with only 5 homes, which is impossible because nobody's selling. Well, the first question I'm gonna likely ask them is, what other neighborhoods are you looking at? right? What neighborhood do you know that has 10 homes and maybe a house for sale that we can start the process on, right? So, and again, the advertising is the most important because it doesn't matter where you advertise as long as you have the right message.
Man, you're a smart dude. I almost don't want to show the video. Like, oh no. Good stuff, good stuff. So this is one thing that I always love to do when I bring folks on the show. And it disheartens me when real estate agents have this issue about folks selling stuff. You got some good stuff. Let us know what you have for sale.
So a couple things, and I was going to say regardless, I was just going to try to slide it in anyway, so I appreciate that. A couple things. For agents back there in the group, you can check out my Real Estate Ads Academy program. It's going to teach you how to advertise, right? You can apply it. It's mainly Facebook ads, but you can apply that anywhere, and it'll show you how to make the right landing. I've already done the work. So I always say this to my people. It's like, I've done the experiments to gain the experience to become an expert. I've run over 1,500 different Facebook ads. I've created over 500 different funnels. I've written 600 blog posts, 125 podcasts, over 1,000 videos. Like, I've done this stuff, right? And so with all of that, I'll show you the easiest, fastest way to set up a real estate funnel that converts name, email address, and mobile phone number so that you can text them, because nobody answers, right? So you can text them and get in touch with these folks. And then it's even got the follow-up scripts and everything to say to them afterwards. Because listen, when someone goes to Zillow and they fill out an application or form or whatever, information for a home, that's a different mentality than someone who's just like kickback, surfing through their phone, and then sees an ad and decides to take. So you have to treat the sales process on those two leads completely different, because most likely the person you caught on their cell phone that entered their information is at an earlier phase in the game than the person that's going directly to Zillow. So you have to learn to nurture that and deal with them long-term and follow up. And I teach you all that in the program. It's RE as in real estate, readsacademy.com, readsacademy.com. You get a free video, show you some cool stuff. But more importantly than that, if you don't take anything away from this, right? I have a software program that I just launched a week ago. It's called Clyxo, CLYXO. Again, CLYXO.com. It's free. Just go there, sign up, start your profile. There's 1,000 people on the software right now. It's that brand new. Claim your name, right? Like, go there and claim your name. If nothing else, just go there and you'll be Clyxo.com mode, right? Because nobody else has picked that yet. Right? Because it's only 1,000 people or so back there. So go claim your name. The profile's free. What it is it's a place to hold all your social media profiles in one spot. So no more saying, hey, I'm Ryan, find me at hardcorecloser.com. I'm on Instagram, Hardcore Closer. I'm on Facebook at Real Ryan Stewman. There's none of that. You just say, find me, I'm Ryan. I'm Clyxo.com/closer, right? And then they can go there and they can decide if they want me on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. Maybe somebody wants to connect with me on Instagram. They don't want to be my friend on LinkedIn because that's more professional or whatever. They have the choice right there on that page. No more putting a bunch of different icons across your business card or your email address, just my little logo. And when they click on it, they can go and pick out any social media channel you're on. You can host them all in one place. It's completely free. So all I ask is that if you enjoyed the stuff on this, that you just sign up for a free profile and share it with your friends on social media, right? And we'll call it good. So
slick. So you'd be able to find my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that right there on my profile. So you can pick and choose which one you want to engage with versus them being scattered like rats and cats now.
Yep. Yeah. Or having to create your own website, right? To hold them all in one spot. So you just come in and you just click a couple buttons, connect your accounts. You decide which ones you want to display. You can drag and drop them in whatever order. You upload a profile picture. You put a little blurb about yourself and you're good, dude. It takes less than 2 minutes.
You're a smart brother, man. Smart brother. I appreciate you for coming on the show and for the lab coats and hopefully the other thousands of people, millions of people that see this. This was some really, really great stuff. I have to acknowledge you, man. I always appreciate hustlers. I'm originally from Detroit, so I definitely understand the hustle grind mentality. And it's funny, growing up as a kid, you don't even realize that you kind of have that, or you're growing up in that kind of mentality till when you become an adult. And you can see people like yourself who are hustlers and grinders. And you don't always, you look around and you wonder, like, why are you guys moaning and crying about not being able to get what you want out of life? Just go grab it. And so I want to say, I see the hustle, I see the grind, I appreciate you, man. And I thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, because I know you probably could have sold 100 houses by now in this hour, 40 minutes we've been together. So your time is money. And I want to say that Mo appreciates that, man. So again, Make sure you guys check Ryan out. He's got some great stuff. I'm going to be signing up for this platform. It's a no-brainer. It's free. So, you know, we're definitely going to help you get the word out there, man. Anything you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, so I will say this, you know, it's you say like you recognize a hustler and something like that, man. I appreciate that. The thing is this, I believe it's not that I'm like a hustler or necessarily a hard worker, and I am those things, but that's not the whole thing. I believe that I was here for a reason, right? So let me leave the audience with this deep shit for a minute, right? So like we have this voice in the back of our head that's constantly telling us do this or don't do this, right? And we have a choice every day that we decide whether we want to listen to that voice or not, right? And oftentimes that voice is telling us to do some really scary shit, right? Some like stuff that's way out of our control, some things that are way beyond our fear, some things that we couldn't imagine ourselves doing. And we're like, shut up, voice. And we do drugs to escape that voice. And we drink alcohol to escape that voice. And we sleep to escape that voice. And we do everything we can to numb ourselves to not listen to that voice. And then later on in life, we wonder why we aren't where we wanted to be, why we're not as happy as we want to be. And meanwhile, the voice has been telling you what you're supposed to do the whole time. You're supposed to do this stuff. And the only thing that's made me different from anybody else is that I've listened to that voice. I've listened to that voice, and when that voice talks to me, I'm like the Manchurian candidate. Yes, voice, what do you want, right? And I do what it wants, and it scares the shit out of me, right? And I'm not a religious person or a hokey person or anything, but like I live in a place where I pay $6,000 a month in rent. I have a check right here, Mo. I'm not even kidding you, man, from like, let me pull this. I'm not even like, this is on quick fire for these type of reasons, man. That is a check from 2003, man, just 12 years ago, where I made $9.50 an hour and worked 72 hours for $380, man. I've done things that scare the shit out of me the whole time, man. The stories that I told in my book right here, man. You know, I got books that I send out to people. I wrote 2 books, right? So like the crazy thing is, I wrote 2, right? That's like nuts, but. And I'll write 3 in 2016. But the thing is, the stories I told them there alienated a lot of people, and it was scary. And I didn't want to tell those stories. And I was hiding the fact that I had been to prison. But the voice was like, you got to tell people that you've been there, Ryan. You can't live this lie. You got to tell people. I'm like, shut up, voice. I don't want to tell people, right? But I listened to it. And you know what? It's delivered me, man. I got a pretty good life, I got to say, you know, and life's only getting better with the ClickSo software and the things that I plan to do with it. It's only getting better. But you people that are listening to my voice right now, you should listen to the voice inside your head, because that thing is telling you what you say, what's your purpose in life. It's telling you, you just have to make the decision to listen to it.
Man, you preach, brother. Amen. Hallelujah. I love that. I mean, you know, so that voice, when you are, to me, okay, I always say this to folks, you know, I tell everybody, whatever you call your God, that's fine. For me, I call mine God. You know, I don't necessarily use that term, but for yourself, like you said, it's that voice. And you know, everything that you can see has been made, including yourself. And I agree with you 100% that everybody has that voice in the back of their mind that's telling them. And the funny part is, man, if you think about life and all the things that you've heard and, you know, cliche quotes, etc. One that I always think is funny, but it's like the ultimate truth. Do what you love and the money will come. And people don't get that. And I can tell that you're passionate about what it is that you do, because, you know, for you to, and when I say hustler, I don't mean hustler as in I'm trying to take a dollar. Hustler,
no, I get it,
for me, it means, you know, I'm here to give you what I know you need, and I'm gonna, you know, do whatever it takes to do it. And I see you with the message. And that's another reason why I wanted to get you on the show, man, because I see people don't see that side of you, man. And I think, and this is my 2-cent opinion, I think if you show that more, I just think that just ultimately lifts your message.
Well, hopefully lab coat agents see this and they're like, oh man, the dude's a little bit deeper than the mental midget that we thought he was when we kicked him out of here, man. He'll have like a change of heart on me, so we'll see, right?
The mental midget. You know, I think I'm gonna make that the cover. Mental midget. I like that, man. So I got a good friend. His name is Jeremiah Quarles. He lives in Dallas, Texas. I need to hook up with him. Me and that brother, we did something special back in Michigan State. He and I started this organization called African American Celebratory, where we celebrated the accomplishments of the African American students who came from the inner city and graduated Michigan State because the achievement rates or the graduation rate were lower than all the other classes. And so I need to visit him. And if you're in Dallas, I'd love to have the opportunity to try to hook up with you, man, at least to give you a high five and to say thanks for coming on doing this interview. So is that cool? Can I follow up with you when I make plans to come to Dallas?
Yeah, man, when you get out here, if I'm home, we'll have a beer or something.
That'll work, man. I appreciate you. So with that being said, Lab Coach, it's Ryan Stewman, the real deal. And we appreciate you, man. So have a great day. Sell some houses, buddy. Talk to you.
Later, man.
All right. Talk to you later.